What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with what's next for Uros Medic following UFC Belgrade win. Yesterday, we witnessed an insane card as we saw 10 first-round finishes. Yep, you heard that correctly. And one of those finishes came in the main event of UFC Belgrade, where Uros Medic put on an amazing performance to take out Daniel Rodriguez. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. So for those of you who missed the event, honestly, this wasn't exactly a stacked card in terms of superstar names. But my god, did the fighters deliver. We joked yesterday that there has to be something in the water in Serbia because literally 10 fights ended in the first round, and I think there were around 12 finishes total on the whole card. So for a fight night card, honestly, not bad at all. But I'm getting carried away. Let's go back to the main event, and honestly, there's not much to talk about as Medic just showed up and put D-Rod away within 30 seconds of the first round. So what did Dana White think about the fight? Well, thankfully, unlike the Abu Dhabi card, Dana was actually there in attendance and held a press conference afterward. During the press conference, he was obviously asked about the main event, and well, here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you could win any more impressive than he did. I mean, the first shot pretty much knocked him out because the second one hit him in the chest, sort of a back of the head shot, and then some punches on the ground. Pretty much knocked him out with one punch. Well, I mean, becoming a superstar, first of all, he has the most first-round KOs in the division's history. He's got the longest string of KOs in the division, third longest first-round KO string in the sport, I think. The highest knockdown rate. You know, he's got a ton of records with knocking people out in the first round. And if you keep coming in and you work your way up the rankings and fight for a world title, and there's a lot of things that it takes to become a superstar, he is definitely headed in the right direction.
Well, it didn't take long for Daniel Rodriguez to react to the fight, as he reacted on his Instagram story, saying, "I loaded up on the jab and he beat me to the punch. Happens, I guess. Regardless of what just happened, I still can say I'm proud of myself for overcoming all that I have this past year. I was way out of shape when I got out of prison. We knew the risk coming out here and fighting this dude in his hometown and still took it. I'm gonna be in way better shape next time. Hurts my heart losing. I'll be better next time." Following the fight, Medic said he's ready to, quote, cook the rest of the division. Yeah, so with that being said, he also seems very interested in fighting Leon Edwards next. Medic feels like a win over Edwards could propel him higher in the rankings, which could then put him closer to a title shot. Here's what he said during the post-fight presser.
Doctor, who is next for your examination?
Sledeći Leon Edwards. Next probably Leon Edwards if he makes himself available. I'm not gonna bully him anymore. If he doesn't want to fight, we fight someone else. It's not a big deal.
Why specifically Leon Edwards?
He is ranked where I want to be ranked because that puts me closer to where I want to be, and that is with the belt around my waist.
Would you be interested in seeing Medic take on Leon Edwards? As for Rodriguez, we reported yesterday during our reaction video that Kevin Holland seems interested in a rematch with him at Noche UFC for his 30th fight. And honestly, this would be a pretty sick matchup, especially considering Holland supposedly bailed him out of jail. And if you're wondering who won the first fight, Holland lost to D-Rod by unanimous decision. What's next for Jan Blachowicz following his loss? Jan Blachowicz was looking to remind the MMA world of his Polish power at UFC Belgrade and halt the rise of Navajo Sterling. But not only did he fail to snap his 4-fight losing streak, he was beat pretty badly, raising the real possibility that this could have been the last time we've seen Jan fight. Early on, he had some success and did appear to stun Sterling with a hard jab, but not long after, Sterling sent him crashing to the canvas with a beautifully placed right hand. Jan attempted to tie Sterling up as he pounded away from above, but after he opened Blachowicz up with some nasty elbows, the fight was stopped. Following the fight, Jan did not take off his gloves. If he had, then obviously he would have been interviewed, so that would seem to indicate that at a minimum, he's going to take some time to think about his future. But given that he's 43 now, and the injuries he's dealt with in the last couple of years, you gotta wonder if this could have been it for his fighting career. Sterling, meanwhile, moved his record to 11-0 with the win, and there's no doubt he's one of the top rising fighters at light heavyweight. After the bout, he called for a fight with either Khalil Rountree or Paulo Costa next, which on paper sounds promising, right? He also showed respect to Jan on social media, sharing a picture of the two of them together after the fight with the caption writing, "So grateful to share the cage with an absolute legend." And this morning, Jan reacted to his loss by posting a picture of the cut on his face, and the caption said, "It is what it is, another one for the collection." Huge controversy at UFC Belgrade involving referee. Bogdan Grad snapped his 2-fight losing streak at UFC Belgrade on Saturday, but to say the victory was tainted is putting it mildly. Grad faced Denis Buzukja on the prelims, and late in round 2, he started working an arm triangle choke after taking Buzukja down. As Grad tried to finish the choke with his left in an open half guard, Buzukja appeared to push, or yes, some might say tap, Grad's leg, and referee Jason Herzog stopped the fight. Buzukja immediately protested the stoppage. As the final moments unfolded in real time, it did kind of look like Buzukja might have tapped, but replays and slow motion reviews of what happened told another story, which a lot of fans called out on X. Here's what they had to say. He has his arms locked around his leg and pulling Grad's arm when Herzog stepped in. No, it wasn't a tap. We got robbed of seeing Grad tired in that third round too. I don't think he was trying to tap, but also can't blame Herzog for stopping it. Not a tap at all. He was pushing the leg. It did look like he was about to hook his own leg, which is the beginning on the end most times, but Bogdan was super gassed, and I would have liked to see how it ended up. The tide was almost turning. Had no horse in this fight. That doesn't look like a tap to me. As noted, Buzukja protested the stoppage as soon as it happened, and after the fight, he repeated in a clip he posted on social media that he did not tap, and that the choke wasn't even in. So even if you think Herzog didn't mess up too bad, you gotta feel for Buzukja. He was coming off 3 consecutive losses heading into today's fight. As for Grad, he recorded his first win since February 2025, even though fans will assign a mental asterisk to it. But while speaking to the UFC crew backstage after the bout, here was some of what Grad had to say about the victory. The first thing that surprised me is that I got tired fast. It surprised me a little bit how tough was and how courageous he was in front of me. He was standing his ground, punching and hitting me with some shots, but I didn't let him take 16 years of work, my place in the UFC. I'm here to stay. I did everything in my willpower to get here and stay here. Dana White interested in going to Spain for UFC? Following Ilia Topuria's loss to Justin Gaethje, some people may have closed the book on the promotion heading to Spain anytime soon. But following the UFC's card in Belgrade on Saturday, Dana White repeated his commitment to hold an event in Spain, as Ilia established himself as one of the baddest men on the planet by taking out Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway, and Charles Oliveira. Dana fielded more and more questions about the UFC holding a card in Topuria's home country. That was before he was beaten by Gaethje, however. But when asked about holding a card in Spain, Dana confirmed his plans have not changed, even though holding an event in the nation is difficult. Here's what he had to say.
If he had been
Well, it's never been easy to do a fight night in Spain or a numbered event in Spain, or we would have done it already. Rarely do I talk about things that we don't do. I don't know if I've ever, other than Spain. But it's not easy to get into Spain. But we're gonna figure it out.
Amazing. One last question for me. Since I'm Italian, I've already asked you this question in London.
Actually, it is kind of easy to get into Spain, isn't it? But not. We've had a tough time. Sorry.
No problem.
You do have to wonder if the UFC's first card in Spain could be pushed further back if Ilia loses his next fight as well. Then again, you never know. Maybe Topuria's next fight will be at the UFC's first ever card in Spain. And if you followed Dana over the years, you know that nothing grinds his gears faster than the MMA media, especially the media that just don't toss him softball questions. Case in point, while talking with the Mac Life recently, Dana said, "I just had to block 3 MMA things to keep MMA out of my algorithm. An hour ago, I'm like, why is this popping in my feed? And I blocked 3 MMA sites." If you had to guess, which 3 MMA sites could it have been? And hey Dana, if you're watching this video, feel free to let us know in the comments. Now, let's take a look at some UFC updates. As we're officially done with the first ever UFC Belgrade card, which delivered by the way, we're headed back to the Apex for Mateusz Gamrot versus Quillan Salkild. And after that, we got UFC 330. So yeah, over the next 2 weeks, we've got some pretty good fights ahead of us. With that being said, let's go over some updates. Let's kick things off with Lerone Murphy. Yesterday, we covered that randomly, Jean Silva and Murphy tweeted emojis of them signing a contract for their next UFC fight. So one would automatically assume the two were fighting, right? Well, if you keep up with the MMA Zone, we reported yesterday that Silva is actually set to take on Yair Rodriguez at Noche UFC on September 12th. So where does that leave Murphy? Last night, he hinted at his next UFC fight happening in October on the Abu Dhabi card for UFC 333. Now, if you're sitting there trying to figure out the pattern and why he's hinting at UFC 333 next, let me save you some trouble. Murphy competed at UFC 242, UFC 267, and UFC 308, which all took place in Abu Dhabi. So yeah, he's clearly hinting at an Abu Dhabi fight next, and we all know the next Abu Dhabi event is in October for UFC 333. So who do you want to see Murphy fight next? Following Usman Nurmagomedov's win Friday night in the PFL against Archie Cogden, people started to question whether the UFC will sign him now that his deal with the PFL is officially over. Well, Dana White was asked about this during the Belgrade post-fight presser, and he replied, "Sure," and had a big smile on his face. Then, when this was reported by Champ Rounds on Twitter, Dana also responded in the comments by posting a smiling emoji. So yeah, it looks like we will be seeing Usman in the UFC very soon. And Javier Mendez proposed multiple opponents for Usman's debut in the UFC. In a new interview with Submission Radio, he said, "If Usman does jump in, I'm looking at the top 2 dogs. Someone like a Sarukian, someone like a Topuria. Those are the 2 that I look at as the dream fights. Not dream fights, but the fights to want to have. But how it's gonna work if we do jump over, that's on Usman, not on me. They're probably gonna give us someone like a Paddy, someone of that stature, which is fine too. Or maybe Max Holloway. Who knows? But it's going to be somebody in the top 5, I believe. It could be Sarukian for definite because he's not the champ, so it could be. But I don't think Topuria would be on the list." And Jake Paul responded to the haters who are clowning on him for Khabib putting the belt around Usman after his win. He went on his Instagram story and wrote, "It's crazy because I told Khabib before handing him the belt that he should be the one to hand his cousin the belt and put it on him. I don't even want to be a promoter and be admired for this. It's really for the fighters. I have my life set. I literally do this for the fighters. I told Khabib to take the belt and put it on his cousin because that's way cooler than me doing it, and it gets turned into some internet thing hating against me. Ask Khabib, keep it coming. Y'all are sheep until you're not. Your IQ depends how you read this message and either love or hate me." And speaking of Jake Paul, Josh Hokett went back and forth with him on Twitter after Jake posted about NFL players. Jake wrote, "Not a single NFL player could last 2 rounds in a professional boxing ring. Meanwhile, I can catch a touchdown pass tomorrow in the NFL with 0 training. Patrick Mahomes, run a 10-yard route. Me, okay. Patrick sends me a perfect pass and I catch it, LOL. What are we talking about here?" Well, Hokett obviously did not agree with that tweet and said that he would beat Jake in a boxing match. Josh wrote, "With all due respect, Jake Paul, not only could I beat you in a boxing match, I'd beat you in any sport under the sun." And Jake fired back, writing, "I see your hustle. You do your best to sell. If you want to fly down to Puerto Rico and box anytime, I will gladly embarrass you." So Jake Paul versus Josh Hokett in boxing, who you got? And following her loss to Nina Milosevic at UFC Belgrade, Hailey Cowan has decided to call it quits on her MMA career after going 7-6 and losing 4 straight in the UFC. Going on Instagram after her loss, she posted this statement officially retiring from the sport and shared one of her journal entries. She wrote, "What a privilege it's been to live a life of big dreams. Big failures? Yep. Big successes? Oh yeah. Today was a hard day. I had a great camp and an incredible week here in Serbia. I was ready, healthy, and eager to put on a show. I fought well until I got hit with a body shot that shut the old organs down. It is what it is. It sucks, but I made huge adjustments this camp and I'm proud of that. Thanks to everyone who has stuck with me over the past few years. I genuinely love you all. Most importantly, thank you, Jesus, for this dream, this platform, and this incredible life. I hope in my time in the UFC I was able to represent you well. On to what's next." This little gymnast from Waco, Texas decided she would become an MMA fighter at 23 years old. I'm proud of what I was able to do, and I'm excited for whatever's next. Huge thank you to Danny Davis Jr. for seeing something in me and pouring into me. We made some great adjustments. I wasn't able to show them all, but I think it was pretty obvious that we elevated, even the little time I was able to show tonight. Arman Tsarukyan versus Charles Oliveira, not for the BMF belt. Following the first report that Arman Tsarukyan is going to fight Charles Oliveira for the BMF title next, some people questioned whether the matchup is even BMF worthy. Well, if you're one of those people, you'll be pleased to hear that according to a new report, the BMF belt will not be on the line. Right now, it's believed that Arman and Charles will fight at UFC 331, which is going down September 19th in Los Angeles. Recently, MMA reporter Leo Guimaraes reported that he's been told the BMF title will not be on the line. In a post on X, he wrote, "What I can also confirm after verification is that the UFC's decision so far is that the matchup will have 5 rounds, but it won't be for any title, including the BMF. Initially, the organization had set the fight for just 3 rounds, and both athletes had even begun preparing based on that expectation. However, the UFC backtracked and opted to turn the bout into a 25-minute fight. Additionally, Joshua Van versus Alexandre Pantoja is also officially confirmed for UFC 331. As for the matchup between Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes, which was scheduled for the same event, it had to be postponed. This is interesting to hear, and it definitely raises questions about what the UFC plans to do with the BMF belt. It's no secret that fans were not happy with how Oliveira went about securing the title for Max Holloway this past March. So the UFC may have decided it was too risky to have Tsarukyan and Oliveira square off for the BMF belt, since both men often go the grappling route in fights. And in a new interview, Arman said that he's only going to accept a fight with Charles Oliveira without the BMF belt if the UFC guarantees him that he will fight for the lightweight title next. He said, If there is no BMF, no, it's not that interesting. But if the UFC says that I need to fight so that I'm next for the belt, of course I will take this fight. Meanwhile, Arman continues to stay ridiculously busy on the grappling and wrestling circuit. This weekend, he competed again for Hype FC in his country of Armenia and faced former Haryanvi wrestler turned fitness influencer Ankit Bayanpuria. Arman made short work of Ankit after taking him to the mat a couple of times and then suplexing him and rolling into a match-ending armbar. And that's it for today's news video. Check out yesterday's video on screen now if you missed it, and thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow for more updates on everything MMA.